Ferdinand Piëch had a lot to say, spearheaded all these incredible projects for Volkswagen, and in my book ranks as probably one of the top engineers ever. I was told that he's coming into the studio when nobody else was in the house, and I was by coincidence, by chance, wearing a Ferrari jacket, which then he came up to, he grabbed me by the collar and said, "You're a brave boy," or "You're a brave guy," or something like that. And I didn't know what he was referring to because I'd forgotten that I was wearing this hoodie. I looked down, I saw the Ferrari badge on it, and I was like, sorry about that. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for Josef Kaban, the designer who did the exterior of the Veyron. He kind of comes from a very classical Volkswagen design tradition, very Bauhaus, very graphically neat and organized in what he does. Really appreciate it. But in my mind, when we're talking about a hyper sports car, Bauhaus philosophy needs to be shifted because form follows function, right? And we cannot just treat it as if it were an Audi TT because the function is so different. The Veyron is going over 400 kilometers per hour, has 1,000 horsepower. So the aero requirements and the kind of packaging that I envisioned for a hyper sports car was not really done right on the Veyron, in my opinion. There are some objective reasons why it looks the way it does. For example, the transmission is in a tunnel, which effectively means the driver and the passenger sit further apart, which means the cabin is very wide. But there are also some stylistic reasons that the team, including Josef, did on that car that were driven simply by trying to make things as neat as possible. And they, for example, made the cabin slightly wider than it could have been, just to make sure that there's a very nice sort of section between the door and the side glass and stuff like that. So what I wanted to do is to inject more performance car DNA into the Veyron's architecture. Respect, obviously, its packaging. Yeah, the transmission stays in the tunnel. The engine is gigantic. It requires insane amount of cooling. So those are the hard parameters we have to work with, but I still wanted to bring a little bit more performance car DNA. I fought like hell for those bigger wheels. That was one of the main things that I'm very happy that the team was able to achieve, and I personally spearheaded that effort. Veyron rode on the Pax tires, Michelin bulletproof, basically Pax tires, run flat technology. And the curious thing about those tires is that the front, I'm going to get really nerdy right now, the front wheel sidewall.
That's what we do here.
All right, good. The front wheel's sidewall. Yeah, the sidewall. The amount of rubber on that front wheel was actually bigger than the sidewall size on the rear wheel. That is wrong.
That's unusual.
Front wheel is smaller than the rear wheel and yet still has bigger sidewall than the rear wheel sidewall. What that does, though, to your eye, when you look at the car, imagine the bottom of the rim on the front always looks higher up than on the rear because there's simply more rubber under that front rim than on the rear. So the whole car looks nose up. No matter what chassis configuration you're in, just the amount of black under the rim kills the aesthetics of that front wheel and the stance. So not only did we switch to bigger rim diameter for both front and rear, 20 and 21, we also fixed that sidewall issue. I would love to tell you that it's all about the design, it's all about the sections that we use, it's all about the proportions and improvements, but I would say 80% of the looks come from that one simple decision that we have good, correct tire specs on that car.
It amazes me how very small details can completely change a car. Like, for example, before we get started, we were joking around about the cars we drive, and you're like, as long as you don't drive a GT3 RS, I'm like, uh-oh. And one of the things I changed on the car was the daylight opening trim.
Okay.
That car comes standard with the black trim, but I spec the satin finish trim. And to this day, the car's 2 years old now, to this day, I have people come up to me and they say, why does that car look so different? And no one knows, but it's that daylight opening.
It's a good point. It's subliminal. All of it is subliminal. Yeah. I mean, as a designer, we kind of dissect things, and I really do know what comes from what. But for an average person just seeing the car, the perception of health, the perception of beauty, the perception of performance, of value, of quality, all these are subliminal perceptions.
You've had the experience, by this point, you've had the experience of working at Volkswagen, and you're at Lamborghini and Bugatti. Is it handled differently when you're at a studio like a Bugatti where a Volkswagen, they may say, okay, well, we're doing this and we got to cut budget here, cut budget here. Is Bugatti like, take your time, let's do this, or the engineers run the show? How is it different?
I mean, everyone in their respective seat thinks they have it the most stressful. right? So if you called in a Bugatti designer right now, they would tell you, no, we're crazy, we're running around, it's so much stress, and we're so on the time limits and deadlines. I have the luxury of being able to compare. And I do have to say that the Bugatti experience was wonderful in many ways, including the fact that we did take a bit more time. We did take a bit more time to do things right.
Okay, so
there wasn't the
lower
man with a whip
production
kind of
gave you the luxury of time.
I think the lower production plus the fact that for Volkswagen, Bugatti is not the main breadwinner. So they see Bugatti, or while they owned Bugatti, they saw Bugatti as kind of a playground for good ideas and ambitious new developments and that sort of stuff. So yeah, we as designers dreamed of putting a car on the road, but at times it felt like the rest of the company would be just as happy kind of continuing R&D without bringing something to the road. And of course, when the project became serious and real resources were connected, it did change. But the earlier phases of kind of pre-development were just, creative time, which is a luxury we don't normally get.
In considering the car, were the engineers more in charge of the design, or was it, look, we're making it look like this, you figure out your crap on your own?
So a bit of both, actually. The way that worked was Ferdinand Piëch had a lot of say in what those cars looked like.
Everything.
Yeah, but especially with Bugatti, he was very, very hands-on. And just as with the Veyron, same with the Chiron, he saw a design model.
Did your time overlap?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm kind of jealous. He's a guy I wanted to meet.
Yeah, it's too late for that, I guess.
Yeah, clearly, but that's awesome.
Quite something.
Work with him.
Yeah, I did once present to him and got some feedback from him. And I was the only person in the studio, which was quite an intimate setting. So it was a pretty incredible.
What was he like? Was he like you and I talked about the gift of clarity, or was he quiet?
Certainly gift of clarity, but it was very one-directional and very straight shooter. And why did you do this? Oh, Mr. Piech, because of this and that. Don't do this. So it was,
So you as the kid that grew up in Georgia that doesn't like authority, did you talk back to the guy and you're like, or did you say like, "Si patron" or whatever?
No, see, the thing with him is when you have someone entering the room who developed the Audi Quattro and the 917 Porsche and spearheaded all these incredible projects for Volkswagen, and in my book ranks as probably one of the top engineers ever. I was probably more in the mode of just soaking it in and enjoying the opportunity to speak with a great man and get some feedback from him.
So you had the presence of mind to know that was a formative moment for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%. It was, I was put on the spot a little bit that day. I did meet him a couple of times before and a couple of times after, but that day I was told that he's coming into the studio when nobody else was in the house and that I should be make myself ready to present. All of a sudden the door opened, he walked in, and I was by chance wearing a Ferrari jacket, which then he came up to, he grabbed me by the collar and said, "You're a brave boy," or "You're a brave guy," or something like that. And I didn't know what he was referring to because I'd forgotten that I was wearing this hoodie. I looked down, I saw the Ferrari badge on it, and I was like, sorry about that. But he was fine. That was a bit of a joke. Then he said, "Show me the car," and I went over to the car and showed him some of the updates we did on the design side and got a couple of bits of feedback.
Which car was it?
The Chiron development, yeah. Got a couple of bits of feedback from him. He was very mild. He was generally very happy with the car, so that also is the reason he was mild. I've seen him in some meetings far from that level of tranquility, but I had it easy on that day, and he thanked me, shook my hand, and left. After about 15 minutes, that was that.
If you enjoyed this content, please like the video and consider subscribing to see even more content like this. And to listen to or watch the full podcast version of this episode, search MotoManTV Podcast in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the video description below. We have all new episodes each Wednesday. Thanks for watching.